Hey guys, welcome to another review. This time we're checking out the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a good time with this game. I really did not have a good time with this game. It's gotten to the point like, after I finished it, I couldn't remember anything. The characters, the story, hell, even the villains. I couldn't remember any of it. And I didn't skip cutscenes or anything. I went through the whole thing. It's just, this game is one of the most forgettable experiences I've had in a long time. Now, I do believe this is based off their Netflix series, or like promotional material for it, or whatever it is. So, if you're someone, like, I'll say this now, if you're someone who's watching the Netflix series, if it's out, I don't know if it's out, but if you've watched that and you enjoy this series, you know, more power to you. You should enjoy what you enjoy, pretty much. Like, don't let anyone else tell you differently. However, for me, if this is, like, this game was promotional material to try and get me into this series, I feel no urge. I do not care at all about this series after playing this game. And if this game is more like just, you know, filler that's actually what I feel like it is. It's just filler content for the series, the TV show, whatever it is. Because, to be honest, I don't really understand what most of the things that happened in this game were. And I played through it all. Like I said, I didn't skip cutscenes. I went through the whole game story, but after finishing, I still don't know, like, what most of it was about. Frankly, I don't care at the end of it. Anyway, guys, let's get into it. The Dark Crystal is pretty much just a tactics game, strategy game. You know, like Fire Emblem, or Final Fantasy Tactics, there's a good example as well. Pretty much you'll just traverse through the world doing different missions based off the characters required for that said mission to overthrow the evil race called, is it Skikis? I don't know, I probably just butchered the living fuck out of that pronunciation and probably gonna piss off a lot of people, but I don't care. Now, this is my first problem with this game, is that the story is told in such a convoluted way that I didn't understand what most of the characters' motivations or underlying stories were for the most part. Like, sure, I understood the basic overall story, you know, bad guy rules over weaker race, use weaker race as sacrifice for their experiments, weaker race then tries to fight back, rinse and repeat, sort of thing. But this game does such a poor job of introducing new characters, and an even poorer job of telling the story, that I had no clue, really. Like, maybe I'm just an idiot, but every time a new character was introduced and went off to do, you know, some of their side quests, I just boiled it down to it somehow helps us beat the bad guys in the end. I'll say this now, I didn't skip the cutscenes and I did try to pay attention, but this game is one of the, if not the first ones I've ever played where the story and their motivation / for the characters was completely lost to me. And this is coming from someone who played Final Fantasy 15 pre-patch, and I still had a better time understanding that story than I did with this one. This one was just complete garbage to me. You know, I had a really hard think about it, and to be honest, I boiled it down to two reasons why I didn't enjoy this story. Firstly, there's no voice acting, and I feel like it plays a big role in why this game just sucks. It makes this game 100 times more shit than it should be, and frankly, I lost interest so quickly in this game, far more than if there were voice acting in it. Now, I have played games with no voice acting in them before, but this one just takes the cake with how boring and bland it felt. And secondly, the fucking dialogue. Holy shit. The dialogue in this game is so confusing, and adding to the fact I got so bored and wanted to get it over with quickly was probably one of the main reasons why I had a hard time understanding it. Dialogue in this game, just between characters, sucks so much ass. It goes something like this. Thrall goes to Asgard to fight the giant Skrull, where the Joker will then present you with the legendary missing half of the golden panties to then fight off the end victim. It just makes no sense. It's literally like what this whole thing is. Like, that made no sense to me, and I fucking don't even know what I said, but that's just what this game's dialogue felt like to me. And it sucked. I didn't enjoy any of it. I'm not sure if this game, like I said before, is just promotional material for the Netflix series or extra content to help you understand the Netflix series, but I don't care either way, and I've lost all interest in ever learning any more about this universe. Not only that, but character animations in this game suck. It's like I'm playing some trash gachi mobile game. And they even do a far better job than this shitty game. Music in this game as well is good for the first 20 minutes. I'll give it that. But you'll soon realise it repeats over and over and over and over and fucking over again. Like, holy shit. I know you guys love this soundtrack, but please give me something different after the first 10 hours of playing the same fucking songs over and over again. Like, a little bit of diversity would have been nice. This game also has an annoying leveling up system. Now, I should note, if you don't care about unlocking the last tier class, the leveling up system isn't that bad, but in this game where you can select a primary class where you can gain up to, I think it's 3 skills, and a secondary class where you can acquire 2, this seems okay at the beginning, but it becomes really restrictive later on, where you unlock like a multitude of skills, somewhere between maybe 10, 20, even 30 overall, but you can only use a small portion at a time. What's also annoying is that from what I saw, the secondary classes do not level up at all, unless you set them to your primary, but you can only have one primary, so it's very annoying. You'll also need to reset your level and class every time you go up a tier. Now, like I said before, if you're not interested in the very last tier of classes in this game, this isn't too much of a problem, because you're just following a specific class, if you will. But if you wish to gain one of the higher tier classes, you'll need to grind skills outside your current class, making it a real pain. It was annoying to have to change my, like, let's say my assassin to a magician and then grind him as a magician just to meet a certain requirement to progress, and it didn't feel nice. It felt really bad. Now, moving on to the actual gameplay, the turn wheel on console, this is on console, the turn wheel felt mostly responsive, but did anyone else find themselves casting the wrong spell from time to time? Like, I've poisoned my troops at least 20 times on accident when I've just tried to heal them, just because it like auto snaps back to something else when I didn't want it to. It will piss you off from time to time, I'll tell you that. Also, this game does an okay job of explaining how to play it if you've never played a tactics game before, but looking at the models, the animations, the maps, most of the gameplay as well, generally it just felt bland and boring. In this game, you'll encounter the same enemy over and over and over and over again. And once you've met a certain group or faction of enemies, you'll never really meet any new enemies for that faction ever, except maybe a change in the model's color or something. And don't fucking get me started on the maps. Not all of them, most of them are okay, but they tend to, tend to feel real cheap. Now, there are some maps that have different victory conditions, which, for the most part felt good. It felt nice to have, like, not the same victory condition, kill all enemies. Some of it's go here, or some of it's defend there, or, along those lines. However, when you apply this with some of the maps, it felt really cheap. Like, they're looking for a way to amp the difficulty up, but they're like, instead of adding significantly more intelligent AI, let's just make the map real cheap for the player, or the victory condition real cheap for the player, and just make them struggle. There's also 3 difficulties, and I recommend you don't play on easy or normal, because you'll just steamroll through everything in this game. Like, you'll just smash straight through it all. Hard difficulty, I will give it credit. It was hard, ignoring the cheap maps. Like, overall, it was a good experience. I did die multiple times on certain maps, and that wasn't like cheap maps I'm talking about. That was like general overall, fairly well-designed maps where I did die. So I do recommend you play this game on hard. Unless of course you end up like me, where you get to the point where you get so bored with this game, you just drop it to easy, just to smash through everything in the end. You're just over it. This game also has no punishment for losing all your team members, such as, they're all dead for good, like in Fire Emblem. Hell, even XCOM. So, pretty much feel free to die as much as you want. Anyway, guys, this game, I've had a bit of a think about it and how I should have rated it. And originally, I was going to give it a 4 out of 10, a below average game. But it has a price around $30, which I still think is a bit too expensive. But because it's not, you know, priced any more than that, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. It's average. You know, it's forgettable. If this game is meant to entice people to watch the Netflix series, I most certainly don't want to do that now. If this series was made for just fans only as filler content, then, you know, I'm assuming it makes sense to those fans, and I hope they had a wonderful time with it. But for me, someone who's never heard of this series before this game, I don't care. And frankly, it's such a forgettable game for me that I will most certainly have forgotten it by the time I play Persona 5 Scramble, which is coming out next week sometime. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this game, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and as like I said before, Persona 5 Scramble is going to be my next game, most likely review, so thanks for coming, and talk to you next time.